This seems to me a particularly sad gospel because we see first the betrayal of Judas and also the betrayal of Peter. The same scene, you see two apostles whom Jesus loved so dearly, one after the other, Jesus knowing that they were going to turn their backs on him basically the same day. And I think what makes especially sad this scene is that both of them were entrusted with chores within the group of the apostles. Judas was the finest guy, so certainly Jesus had placed trust in him. Peter, I think unofficially, or perhaps officially, was already the first among all the apostles. So it's a sad scene because you see two dear friends of Jesus knowing that they're going to turn their backs on him. Obviously, if you compare the treason of Judas, it's much worse than the treason of Peter. Judas did it in a premeditated way. He knew what he was going to do. He planned it out. He sought out his, the people that he was going to plot with against Jesus. I think that we could excuse Peter because his betrayal came from a moment of fear and a moment of weakness. But I think that more useful than comparing the betrayal, I think it's very useful to see their attitude after the betrayal. And we all know this. Judas, what does he do? He runs away, he hides. He falls into despair and chooses suicide. Peter endures the gaze of Jesus. That's the difference between the two of them. Judas runs away. Judas wants to run away from the Lord. Peter, though embarrassed and sad and ashamed of what he did, at least he endured the gaze of Jesus. So, I want to finish my homily with this. I think a beautiful spiritual attitude that we could take this Holy Week is to endure the gaze of Jesus. Because I think that all of us, when we dive into the deepness of Holy Week, we feel a little like Judas and Peter. I feel ashamed of my sins. And sometimes I would rather run away than confront my sins. But I think that the spiritual attitude of enduring the gaze of the Lord through Holy Week, knowing that we should be embarrassed, but at the same time that He loved us in the way that He loved Peter, that can be a beautiful framework with which we can face this week. So today, let us embrace one more time the loving gaze of Jesus that looks at us tenderly in our weakness, but inviting us to a new life.